know we've been wanting to do this for quite some time. Folks, my name, like I said, is Michelle. I am here in partnership with Purdue University Global to really be that conduit between faculty and students to our faculty and students and our content experts to make sure that you know what Purdue University Global has to offer and our differentiators and how we can really be a great option for your students and faculty. I am not alone in this. I have two of my colleagues, Sarah Richardson and Rhonda. If you guys want to come off mute and say a quick hey. Here's Sarah. Hello. Sarah is dedicated to the southern region of Indiana with specific tasks to support the Ivy Tech transfer student. And so not only does she support the transfer student, but she's supporting the advisors of those transfer students with resources and materials as well. So we can have a very seamless, non-scary transfer. And Rhonda, are you out there, Rhonda?
Yeah, hello.
Hey.
Is anybody from the northern part of Indiana on stage? I'm not recognizing any names.
Southern's where it's at.
South Bend Elkhart here.
South Bend Elkhart.
Okay.
Oh, yay. Okay,
Okay.
great. Those are schools are covered.
Excellent. So we'll want to make sure you all get connected. Rhonda's amazing. She supports our northern part of Indiana, ensuring that when those transfer students have what they need to know before making that big jump. So without further ado, I'm going to pull back and introduce our Associate Dean of IT and also our Program Chair of IT, Tina and Chris. So ladies, I'm going to go ahead and let you take off. Put questions in the chat box, folks. We'll be monitoring it. We'll make sure that we have Q&A time at the end. For students and faculty that are interested in more of our programs or just want to kind of do a deeper dive, we're going to be posting a couple Google Forms in the chat room from time to time as well that you can complete that and let us know how we can support. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen, so hopefully you can see that. Everybody see my screen okay? Can you hear me?
I do.
Okay?
It's beautiful. Yep.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for coming. I appreciate your time today. I think this is the first time that I've really formally presented to you all, certainly about our program. So I just kind of put together some highlights of all of our programs. So certainly stop me at any time if there's questions, and Michelle, let me know if it comes up in the chat. I can answer questions along the way. I just kind of wanted to highlight the programs that we have and some of the things that we feel proud about when it comes to the program. So I am the Associate Dean. So we have a Dean over the School of Business and IT. I'm the Associate Dean on the IT side. There's a separate Associate Dean for the business side. So you can ask questions about business, but I can't promise I'll know the answers. I'm pretty much the IT person, but certainly most of you, I think, are IT majors and probably going to stay IT majors, hopefully, and join us in one of our IT programs. And so I have, we have an IT program, Cyber, Cloud, and Analytics. That's the umbrella that covers all of IT for the university. Let's see if my screen will advance. How's that? Working okay? Okay. So here's like a really one-pager summary of all of the programs that we have. We do have AA programs, which probably won't be applicable to you, but if you had decided to move early for some reason, we do have AA programs, or if you wanted to get a second AA after leaving Ivy Tech. We have the 3 specializations there: programming and software development, networking, and then the IT generalist. The programming and software development is kind of a unique offering that we have through the AA and the bachelor's program, in that we cover a variety of languages, which could be good for students transferring in with different languages. We cover C#, Java, PHP, HTML, and JavaScript. So if you've studied in any of those languages, you'll have some preparation for our programs and be able to move into these seamlessly. Just kind of a unique way. We used to have different concentrations in all the different languages and then decided to consolidate it. So hopefully that works for some folks. So the bachelor's degree is our primary degree, obviously the Bachelor's of IT. It is ABET accredited. We've had our ABET accreditation since 2017. We'll renew that, I believe, 2022 is our renewal. And you see there we have 5 concentrations. We recently added the one at the bottom. Supply chain management is actually a business concentration that we've adopted on the IT side. There's definitely a lot of overlap these days between IT and supply chain. So that was a new addition for us. You can see the network administration is kind of obvious. Information security and assurance is our kind of spin on IT and cyber combined, because we do have a dedicated cyber degree, but information security has some combination of courses from cyber in the IT degree. And then I mentioned the programming and software development. IT management is kind of a unique offering, and it's not so much about management necessarily. It's just the concentration where you can pick your elective. And for students coming in with a lot of transfer credits, that's a good option. Kind of gives you a variety of things that you can choose from, as well as bringing in your transfer credits. Our fastest growing degree, of course, is our cybersecurity degree, probably is for most universities. It's been in place since 2015. So we recently have applied for both ABET and NSA. We are expecting the ABET to come through later in August, and NSA is still pending, by the way. I don't know if you guys have done any activities with NSA recently, but right now, due to COVID, we're kind of in a limbo status, and we're waiting to hear some response from them. But hopefully we'll get those designations yet. As you guys probably all know, the value of having the NSA CAE, the funding and stuff that becomes available. So we're really looking forward to that. Our newest degree is our Bachelor of Science in Analytics. It's got a lot of programming and math and statistics. We'll look a little more at that, but that's a brand new program. And we have our Cloud Computing Solutions degree, kind of a unique offering. There's not a whole lot of degrees in cloud computing in the industry. We created this one uniquely for one of our corporate clients, and it has both AWS and Azure, which are 2 huge areas that are advancing quickly in IT and looking for a lot of folks to get into that space. And I'll very quickly at the end of my presentation talk about our master's degrees. One of the reasons we like to talk about the master's degrees even as you're coming into a bachelor's degree is so you can kind of plan your career in advance, and your academic transfer credits can be applied as best as possible. As I go through the presentation, you'll see we articulate certifications. We articulate them both in undergrad and grad. So it behooves you to kind of look ahead a little bit and plan out your educational journey if you are planning to go on to a master's at some point. We have 2 different offerings. The Master's of Information Technology is really for anyone. Even if you were a career changer coming from a different program, you'd be able to enter the master's program in IT. We do have those concentrations there. Business intelligence is kind of the analytics spin. Information security, again, is kind of a little bit of a cyber flavor in an IT degree. And then we have the project management concentration as well if you're interested in becoming a PMP, project manager in IT. And then lastly, we have our master's in cybersecurity management. That's our kind of more rigorous graduate program. Great, finishing touch to a bachelor's in cybersecurity as well. Takes it to the next level. It's really, both of our master's degrees are really intended for leadership. They're intended to go into management and lead folks in the IT and cyberspace. And Chris, jump in anytime. Just let me know if there's something, you're an expert on all this stuff as much as I am. So anything you want to put in on there. Okay, so a couple of things. I don't know if everybody is aware of ExcelTrack. ExcelTrack is currently our competency-based program. It's an awesome opportunity. I think community college transfer students are perfect candidates for ExcelTrack because the expectation in the competency-based program is that students have some IT experience and some college experience, which is obviously all of you. So if you are interested in looking at a competency-based program, all of our bachelor's degrees are available in ExcelTrack today. And basically that just means that you can move at your own pace. There's not as much of a strict schedule as far as deadlines and due dates and that type of stuff. You can finish or not as quickly as possible. And also the other big benefit of that, of course, is you're paying one price per term instead of paying per credit. So something to look into if you haven't explored competency-based programs and you kind of are more of an independent learner, definitely an option that you can look at. I mentioned earlier, and I know Ivy Tech does this as well, but we have a lot of courses that map to certifications. We're preparing students for certifications, and there's prep materials included in those courses. And then on the opposite end, we also articulate those certifications. So if students are coming in with their certifications, which some of you have already gotten your Network Plus, Security Plus, that kind of thing in your AA program, you can bring those certifications into Purdue Global, and we articulate them for credits. I think I'm going to be sharing this link, so you can have this link here, but this is on our external website. There's a link where we show which courses we give you credit for based on the certifications you're bringing in. It's kind of something unique. Not a lot of universities are able to do that, and I think we give a lot more credits than most schools do, so definitely worth it to get your certifications along the way. We also are really, really active in our club. I just had our club meeting last night. I'm still kind of blurry-eyed from all of the club meetings last night. We tend to have our activities on Tuesday nights. In case you don't know, we do have live seminars, normally Wednesday, Thursday, and Sundays. So Tuesday night is our night for clubs, and last night was our cyber club meeting. But we do have very busy clubs, cyber club being the biggest one, and we might meet once a month. We also have a club space, a classroom space for students to communicate with each other. We also support a Slack channel, if anybody's familiar with Slack. Gives the students an opportunity to do live kind of chat. One of the reasons we have all of those venues for our cyber students in particular is because we do a lot of competitions, as I know Ivy Tech does as well. We've competed against Ivy Tech in a couple of events. We went to CCDC the last 2 years, which is there in Indiana. I know Ivy Tech had a team at both of those events, so we've kind of crossed paths in that way, our schools have. And the other one that we do all the time is NCL, of course, and I'm assuming that you guys do NCL on a regular basis as well. That's a couple times a year. So each time we do NCL, which is the virtual capture the flag competition, we actually have more and more participants. So it's continuing to grow and something that students love doing. So they literally finish one season and start preparing for the next season. So that's why we have all those venues for them to actually communicate. So we do have Azure. I'm not sure if Ivy Tech has Azure. Do you guys know? Do you have?
We are not using that at this point. No.
Okay. Okay, we used to have the Imagine account. Before that, it was DreamSpark. You guys have probably heard all of those in the past. Microsoft likes to reinvent itself. But we have Microsoft Azure now, which allows students to get any software that they need. They can certainly go in there and download everything in there if they wanted to, but kind of on demand, they can get Visio or they can get Microsoft Project, whatever it is that they need for their courses, and that's readily available for all students.
Well, Tina, I may have misspoken. We may have that. It's teaching the Azure platform. We are not yet teaching that, so that's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
We're teaching AWS, but not Azure.
Okay, yeah, and then we do, interestingly, yeah, I know there's a crossover there because we do teach Azure, but Azure for teaching is the actual source for software. I never really say the whole name anymore. It was kind of a weird title change when they went to, but it works out well. Students have access that, again, through the whole program, and it's pretty seamlessly done. We also have a lot of virtual labs. We have probably 6 different vendors now. We tend to let our faculty, subject matter experts, decide on the materials for their classes. So they can pick textbooks, they can pick labs, and they can also pick which lab vendor they want to go with. So the students will get a wide variety of experiences in the virtual lab space. All of them are awesome, to be honest. It's really kind of hard to pick. Most of the SMEs just kind of get used to a favorite and then they use that in their particular courses. But it kind of gives the students a wide variety of experiences when it comes to the virtual labs. And it's absolutely essential, obviously. We're all online. There are no physical places or labs for students to do their stuff. So the virtual labs are really helpful. And if nobody has experienced those, it's something you really can't even imagine how awesome they are these days. We also have live tutoring available to our Academic Success Center. We have all kinds of tutors. We have math tutors, writing tutors, but we also have IT tutors. A lot of times the IT tutors are helpful in installing software or getting a program to run like you want it to, but they also kind of help through any of the assignments that are kind of difficult for students to master. You can sign up and actually meet face-to-face, kind of like this. We have something called Cranium Cafe. It's an interface where students can actually come in and do a face-to-face live session with the tutor. And that's available most nights of the week, several hours a night. They are available for IT students. The other thing that we have is mentorships. We have a really, really strong alumni group that sticks with us. It's kind of a combination of the next line there, internships. We have an internship program that is supported by our alumni. We have students that have graduated and they just have never left. They've stayed and helped support our interns, and they become mentors. They help them through whatever they'd be going through in the first couple of terms, and then bring them along the way into the internship eventually. Right now, internships are intended to be a class at the end of a program, and it's all of our programs have internships available, whether they're AAs or master's students. Usually students choose to take an internship versus the capstone. That's kind of how it works. But we also have an opportunity now for students to come into our internship program early. We have a virtual organization set up, basically a virtual internship program that is set up like an IT consulting firm. And the interns come into that, they take on a role, they get assigned to a team based on their expertise and their interests. And then they actually work and meet with clients and come up with solutions based on what the client needs are. So it's an awesome opportunity for people to get work experience, and a lot of them put it on their resume and their LinkedIn profiles. And as I mentioned, some of them don't leave. The students come in for a term or two for an internship, and they end up staying for a couple of years and helping us out.
A lot of times they get leadership experience that way as well. So they kind of move from a technical role maybe into a more supervisory or leadership role.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is sometimes students move on to their master's program with us actually end up becoming faculty because of their interaction with the internship program. So they just kind of become a dedicated Purdue Global person and move right up the ranks and join us in the faculty realm. So that's really awesome. Okay, so this is just one of the concentrations, and I'm kind of going back to the summary slide that I had. I wanted to go through some of the details for each of the programs. And as I mentioned, the BSIT IT management concentration is kind of unique because students can pick whichever classes they want. And it's a really wide variety. This is just kind of a sample list. As you can see, some of the courses came from our cloud degree, some of the courses came from our cyber degree, and you can kind of mix and match whatever classes that you want to add to your concentration. This is a good way to get in some of those certs that might not be part of the IT degree, but would be part of the cyber degree. You can add on the project management class there if you wanted to try to do your PMP. So really, IT management is kind of the catch-all concentration for folks that maybe don't want to do networking, maybe don't want to do programming, but kind of want to get a wide variety of things. They can choose this. There are 42 open elective slots, which is always good for transfer students. You want to be able to have those open elective slots. You'll have to pick 4 from this list, and you could certainly pick more if you have more open electives, but that kind of knocks out this concentration. Okay, and you can see we have in our cyber program, what I'm going to talk about, we have a lot of certification prep classes. So you see those there, the certified ethical hacking, the CISSP. So a lot of students, even though they don't want to go the cyber route completely, they do want to do some of those certifications, and they can do so through this concentration. So our programming concentration, I mentioned, kind of a unique thing. We used to have multiple. When I started, I think we had like 14 different concentrations, which was pretty out of control. We had kind of the concentration and everything. We've combined all of those in the programming space so that students can pick their path. So between the 2 courses, there's actually 2 courses in the core of every IT program, and then there's these 3 more that are mentioned here, in addition to a couple of database courses that are also part of the concentration. But in those series of courses, students can pick their path. They can choose to do C# from the beginning and do C# all the way through. They can, do PHP, Java, whichever they prefer. And you can kind of mix and match if you want. The content as far as the readings and the videos and the instructional, assistance from the faculty is available in all languages. So if a student comes in knowing one language, they could choose to do a second language if they wanted to throughout the program. An interesting thing about this concentration at the bachelor's level, the end result as the students finish it is to create an app and take that app to market. They can do it for iOS, or they can do it for Android, but they create an actual app of some sort, and they learn how to put it onto the Google Store or the iOS Store or the iTunes Store so that they can actually take it to market. So it's kind of a cool end result. No guarantees that they're going to get rich and famous or anything out of it, but certainly it's a great experience to be able to create the app and take it to market. And then lastly, I just happened to mention that we do now have a lot of Python classes. In particular, we have a Python elective that's only 3 credits. So a programming student who wants to mix in Python with all of the other languages could do that as well with an elective. The Python class is now part of our cyber course or cyber program, but it's available to IT students too as well. Because I know Python is kind of the up-and-coming thing now, even though it's been around forever. So I mentioned that our cybersecurity degree is our fastest growing. Again, we started in 2015. We have a little over 800 students now in the program, and it goes up and down with graduations and term starts. But it's very exciting. A lot of students are very excited to be in the cybersecurity field. As I mentioned, very much aligned with the certifications. Either they bring them in or they'll be prepared for them. So we kind of meet students where they're at when it comes to certifications. We do have a lot of folks that come into the program with CISSP and other really high level certs, really getting a lot of transfer credits to come in and do that. Rounds out their education though by having the formal degree on top of those premium certs. We do have a very rigorous first course, which I don't think anyone here would have a problem with. Mostly transfer students from cyber or IT programs at community colleges have no problem at all in our first term. We have designed it with a little bit of rigor. We want to make sure that people are going to be able to get through the entire program because it gets harder before it gets easier. So we do start out with a rigorous course that's really rich in terminology, but super exciting for students because it's really starting them down the path of learning a whole new language in cybersecurity if they're new to the field. We have mapped our program to the 85, which now is 8140, as we all know. But we continuously watch that. We are trying to meet the needs of the government as well as the private sector when it comes to certifications and education. We do map directly to Network Plus, Security Plus, Certified Ethical Hacking, CISSP, and CCNA. We also have Linux classes. If you want to do Linux Plus, there's cloud classes for the cloud certs as well. So lots and lots of opportunities to do the certs. And again, we provide materials in each of those classes to help you prepare for that. So you don't have to go out and buy extra prep materials. You can use the prep materials that are in the courses to be able to study for the exams. We don't yet provide vouchers, but we do obviously get a very deep discount with CompTIA in particular. We get a 54% discount across the board with the CompTIA certs as far as the vouchers are concerned. So it's really cost effective to be able to do it as a student. I mentioned the hands-on labs and the access to test prep. The other thing obviously should be the case in all IT programs is we have faculty with industry experience. We do have 135 faculty now. 15 of them are full-time. So the rest of them are actually adjunct faculty, which means most of them have a day job and work in the field or have recently worked in the field. Some of them are retired. But that gives you the opportunity to meet with people in the field, industry experts, really wide variety of experience and backgrounds that we have in our faculty. And of course, they all have the certifications as well. In general, if they teach a class in CEH, they have the CEH certification and any corresponding certifications that they're teaching to, they actually have experienced that. In some cases, they may have taken the exam a long time ago, but they definitely have the certifications and have experienced the test taking process that all of the students have to go through.
Say, Tina, there's a question from Mike Hallman. He says, is that CCNA or the CCNA Cyber Ops?
It's CCNA routing and switching right now.
Okay.
We do have to modify that, as we know, as everyone here probably knows, Cisco is completely revamping their certifications and redoing them, I guess is the best way to put it. And we'll definitely have to redo the courses too. We have 2 courses today that map to CCNA, and those courses are going to be revised, and it'll probably end up being Cisco SysApps, like you're talking about. Whole different strategy from Cisco coming out.
Thank you.
Okay, and I mentioned the club already. Definitely an opportunity for networking. We have first-term students in the Cyber Club. We have graduates in the Cyber Club. So as you're interacting with the club members, you get a wide variety of experiences and support there. And they also, form study groups all the time. I just had them start up a new Security Plus study group in our Cyber Club today. One of the students very generously, who already has the cert, has decided to leave a study group with the students that don't have that yet. So really very collaborative group of folks. Thanks for the question, Chris. And any more come up, let me know. I can't see the chat at all, so I don't even know that they're happening. Okay, so analytics is our brand new degree, came out last year. We just started enrolling it in October, so I think we've had, 4 term starts or so. We're up to about 50, 60 students in the analytics program. This is a unique offering for us because it's really, really heavy on the math, statistics, and programming part, bordering on computer science, which we don't have a computer science degree, but this is the closest thing to it, definitely dipping our toe there in the computer science realm. It's rigorous, but there's no requirement. You don't have to have IT experience. The beginning of the degree is foundational in nature, kind of prepares you to ramp up. But it does have as it says, it's pretty heavy in math, statistics, and programming. So that should be kind of an interest or proclivity of students going into the analytics degree. Certainly not my strength. So that's why I mentioned that. Students coming from a programming background would have no problem at all. The majority of what we focus on there is Python and R, but there's a whole bunch of wonderful tools that are in there throughout the program. Chris will tell us, we spent a lot of time trying to figure out a name for the degree, and you see we came up with Bachelors in Analytics, really creative. we went back and forth on what to call it, and whether it should be data analytics, data science, data engineering, all those wonderful titles there. But it does kind of lead to all of those careers in industries. So we kind of just decided to leave it plain vanilla and call it Bachelors in Analytics. It's actually a Bachelor's in Science and Analytics, but we didn't get too fancy with the title after all, after all the discussion about it. But anyone that knows anything about analytics knows that it spans across all different industries. And interestingly, we have an analytics club. And I've been noticing that a lot of the folks that are joining the analytics club are actually from our health sciences programs, the supply chain folks as well. So everybody's kind of in the field of analytics and the use of analytics. Certainly a lot of the big employers in Amazon and Walmart and Google, it's just kind of what they're known for as far as the analytics portion of their business. So definitely of interest to a lot of folks. And some of the buzzwords that we talk about in the program, because we have all of those classes in there, we have deep learning, we have AI, we have a data curation class and a visualization class. If anybody's familiar with Tableau, it's one of the programs that we use in there, but just really a really deep dive into all things analytic. The cool thing about this program as well for transfer students is we have 55 open electives, which is huge for us. And we usually try to cram so much into our programs that it doesn't leave a whole lot of electives. In this particular case, we were able to leave a few, although we did create, I think 6, now that I'm thinking about it, 6 new courses that would fill up those elective slots. If you want to take the higher level analytics courses, those are available. But if you do have transfer credits, those can be brought in as well and help you kind of speed to degree on the analytics program. Questions, anybody on that one? Keep going. So here's a little overview of the analytics. The only reason I'm showing this degree plan is because of all the cool titles that we have. Whenever we create new stuff, we're excited about it. So you see all the courses in red are new courses that we recently developed in 2019 for this degree plan. And all these courses, if you come in as an IT student or even as a cybersecurity student and you want to kind of mix and match, you want to take a couple of these courses, you can do that. So you can see on the right-hand side, those are the open elective courses. If you do, there's only 5. If you decided to transfer, or if you didn't have all the transfer credits for the 55 open electives, you have those options on the right-hand side as electives. And I just had a little note on the bottom for it's more of an internal thing for us, but all of our courses were called IT at some point, and we ran out of course numbers. So now we have IN, just in case you were wondering about the annotation. When you look at our catalog, all the old stuff is IT and all the newer stuff is IN because we ran out of numbers. But even the IT stuff is continually updated too, so it becomes new once again. All right, so cloud computing. This is a unique offering as well. It's kind of interesting. This is in 2018, we were looking at creating this degree and kind of, looking at the market and seeing what other folks had. And there's a lot of concentrations out there. There's programs that have a couple of courses here and there in cloud computing, but we really didn't have a lot of competition when it came to a full degree. So we decided to go full degree. That was kind of our decision at the time. We pulled some courses from our BSIT degree and also from our cybersecurity degree, but there was 8 new courses that we created just for this specific program. I think I mentioned earlier, and you can see there, we're focusing on AWS, which is Amazon, and Azure, which is Microsoft. Those are the 2 primary cloud providers today. Obviously, we all know about Google as well. The reason we didn't focus on Google at the time is we were partnering with a corporate partner that is a government contracting agency, and their focus is really AWS and Azure. They do not really use Google in the government sector. Although we do have some preliminary courses in the program that are agnostic, they're vendor agnostic, and so students who wanted to take just a couple of those cloud courses could sit for the Google Plus cert as well as the AWS or Azure. Kind of gives them an opportunity to pick their path. And it really kind of depends on the market that you're looking at, the job market that you're looking at, which one of the platforms they're primarily focusing on. But you'd be well prepared for any of those that they've decided to focus on. We also have a lot of cloud-related certifications, both in AWS and Microsoft Azure, that are articulated upon credit, upon enrollment. If you're coming in with those certs, you can certainly apply those for credits, as I mentioned before. But the other side of the coin is the content of the program is designed to help you prepare for those certs. You have access to Linux Academy in this program. I don't know if anybody has explored Linux Academy before. It's an external vendor. Awesome, awesome content. They have pretty much content on everything you can think of. But what makes them uniquely perfect for our program is they do both AWS and Azure, which is kind of difficult to find in one place. I think probably all of you are aware of AWS Academy and the fact that Amazon is very, very generous with their content. If you're studying for any AWS certs, you can generally get those materials pretty easily. But being able to get the AWS and Azure stuff all in one place is why we selected Linux Academy. Students get access to that in their first cloud class, and they keep it throughout the program. Really a huge value added. It's normally about $50 a month if you want to sign up independently. So it's definitely worth it to maximize that tool if you're in the cloud program. And interestingly, if you're in the cyber program and you take a cloud class or you take the Linux class, ironically, all of those also have Linux Academy available in them. So it's a cool, opportunity for students to check out the tool. And the way that it works is it's the annual license. We assign it to you in the class. The classes are 10 weeks long. If you decide to keep using Linux Academy after your class has ended, you can keep it for the full year. If you decide to stop using it, then that license will be deleted and it won't have access anymore. So certainly stay active once you get access to the tool. And just another reminder down at the bottom, just like in analytics, if you're in an IT program or if you're in a cybersecurity program and you want to take some cloud courses, you can certainly do that. NDS for us just means non-degree seeking, so students that want to come and just take a class here and there or kind of pick and choose a handful of classes can do that from all of our programs. It's an option for all of our programs at Purdue Global. So here's some of the certifications that are allowed with the cloud, just to kind of give you an idea of the wide variety. Both the CompTIA, which are kind of agnostic, vendor agnostic, relatively preliminary. Most students can pass those after the first couple of classes they've taken in cloud. We also have the Microsoft ones. ICS Squared even has a cloud program or a cloud certification as well, CCSP, which most of the courses throughout the cloud program are going to foundationally prepare students for that as well. Cisco offerings as well. We directly align, obviously, with AWS. And the cool thing about AWS, I don't know if anybody's explored it, but AWS has some of the cheapest certifications I've seen, the vouchers, as far as the cost. So that's awesome. Especially compared to, like an ICS Squared is probably one of the highest. So when we're talking about, the cost of trying to get certifications, AWS is really a cost-effective path if you're thinking about that. Keep in mind, I have a little caveat at the bottom. There are some certifications that require some work experience for you to be able to sit for those exams, as probably some of you are aware of those. That's just a sample though. Here's another way I wanted to show this. This kind of shows how our courses on the left align with the certifications on the right. And this is kind of throughout our programs. Students take 273 and 286, which is the Network Plus and Security Plus related courses in every program. Those are in our AA programs as well as our bachelors and our cybers program. Most of you are probably going to come in with those courses as transfer credits. You may already have the certs as well. Either way, if you do have the certs or the class, you'll be having those articulated in. CISSP, of course, is a higher level cert, kind of the premium standard in cyberspace. And you can see on the left-hand side how many classes kind of relate to CISSP foundationally. We do have 3 specific classes, though, that kind of teach to the test when it comes to CISSP. We also provide test prep materials in those classes as well. And just kind of, and so on, we have a CEH classes and routing classes, as I mentioned, are going to be changing soon. And then the Linux classes as well. If someone wants to do the Linux Plus, that's an opportunity. Definitely a lot in the cyber program and quite a few in the IT program. This is how it shakes out for AWS. Pretty awesome opportunity. If you do come in with some AWS certifications, you're pretty much transferring in almost all of the cloud stuff. We've kind of designed it that way so that you're, on one hand, you're being prepared for those certs, but on the other hand, if you already have those certs, you can bring those in as transfer credit. So lots and lots of transfer credits there. You can see how valuable it would be to have some of these
This is really cool. It's a way for folks to cut the time, cut the cost of their bachelor's degree, and same thing with master's, and we'll get into that. Tina, I just want to let you know that Allegra has joined. So
awesome.
If there are questions about TSAP, she's our expert.
Toss it to her in a minute. Absolutely, absolutely. I would love to have her cover that. Okay, this is just a couple more slides, by the way. I'm almost done. This is a way where students coming from our undergraduate degrees, our bachelor's degrees, can accelerate their path into the master's programs. And you see it's kind of complicated, but there's two different paths. If you were an undergraduate student going into a master's in IT program, along the top of that first box there, you can see courses that are in the Master's of IT program. And the second boxes on the bottom are the classes in undergrad that you have to take to get the classes on the top waived, okay? So basically by taking a certain combination of courses or specific courses in undergrad, you actually get transfer credits into grad. And I shouldn't say transfer credits because Allegra's here. It's a waiver. It's a little bit different, meaning that the courses don't actually get posted in your transcript like that, but you don't have to take those specific courses, which kind of makes sense. I mean, if you look at the bottom list, even if you take the 3 CISSP classes as a cybersecurity student, you don't have to take IT 537, which happens to be intro to cybersecurity. So it just makes sense that the lessons that are being learned at undergrad are somewhat seen in grad, and we don't want you to have to retake things. You can get up to 3 courses transferred in that way, which certainly cuts down your time. That's 3 terms, right? 3 times 6 weeks of time that you can save with bringing in those credits. You do have to get a B or better in all of the undergraduate courses that are being applied. And you know, you can kind of see the mix and match there. In some cases, you're going to take them automatically just in the particular degree plans. In some cases, you'd have to use your elective slots to take specific courses to make these matches. But again, go ahead.
This gets to our philosophy, our culture, that we don't want you to waste time. We don't want to waste money on material that you already know. So we want you to have credit for what you already know.
Yes, absolutely. And as we mentioned, you know, in addition to this, where you're bringing in transfer credits from your undergraduate degree, you can also bring in transfer credits from your certifications. So if throughout your AA or your bachelor's degree, you completed some of those certifications we mentioned, those also articulate here at the grad level. And so again, most students that have done that, who've gone through a program, gotten lots of certs and done this articulation from the accelerated program, can actually cut their program in half. You know, our master's programs are 22 months, a little less than 2 years, but with all those transfer credits, they can pretty much cut that in half. Okay, so here's a comparison of the 2 degrees. As I mentioned when we first started, you know, the MSIT degree is considered a career changer degree. So students who don't have a background in IT can be successful in that degree as well. However, it's an awesome degree for anyone who's going into a leadership position in IT and is not really necessarily trying to be cyber. This is kind of a more generalist degree. There's a lot of different variety in the program itself as far as database stuff and programming stuff, as well as project management. So a wide variety of skill sets versus just the cybersecurity on the right-hand side. You can also pick a specialization in MSIT. We have mentioned the specialization before, the analytics, business intelligence, or you can do the information security, which is kind of a little bit of cyber, but not as much as the cyber degree, and also IT project management. We have the project management courses actually come from the School of Business, but they can definitely help you prepare for the PMP as well, if that's something that people are looking to do. And then on the right-hand side, the MSCM degree, which is our Master's in Cybersecurity Management, is really intended for folks with a background in IT, but everybody here pretty much has. Usually we're looking for people that have some experience, whether it's certifications or work experience, but definitely people that are looking to advance their career in cybersecurity and go into a leadership role. And you may decide to continue to pursue certifications during the program too. We do have courses that align with certifications in the graduate program as well. And just last but not least, they're both 60 credits at this point. We're considering adding some add-on concentrations for MSCM, which would make it more of a 80 credit, maybe 90 credit graduate degree. But right now, there's no concentrations. It's straight 60 credits. It's lockstep cohorts that go through those programs. Whereas on the MSIT side, you actually do have concentrations available that you can choose or not choose. You can choose to take elective courses of your choice in your slots if you don't want to take a concentration in MSIT. And Chris always likes to talk about how the fact that you can get both. There's only 6 course differences. If you take the information assurance and security concentration on the MSIT side, you can come back and actually get a second master's in cybersecurity if you decided to do so with just 6 more classes. So there is some overlap between the degrees and an opportunity to get a dual master's degree or a double master's degree if you decide to do that. And of course, there's a discount for students continuing on from the bachelor's program into the master's program. So
I was just going to say that.
I know, I can see your face. I know what you want to say. Yeah, 20% off if you're staying from our bachelor's program into the master's program. So it's definitely worth it to stay dedicated to Purdue Global.
Yeah.
That was my last. Oh, I have a couple more. I just wanted to show this, showing that the IT certifications also map in grad. This is all on their website. If you look at the URL down at the bottom, it's actually on our external website for transfer students. They have this whole list there. But I just wanted to kind of show a sample of how the IT certifications also map into the grad program. And that was it.
Tina, there's a question in the chat that I don't know the answer to.
Okay.
Mike Hallman has asked, are you guys going to be removing or reworking any courses pertaining to the CCENT since it was removed in February by Cisco?
Yeah, we never really mapped to CSENT particularly. We do take the combined CSENT courses into our routing courses right now. Most community colleges, including Ivy Tech, I think, teaches to CSENT, and it's usually within 2 classes. And so those 2 classes transfer into our routing class right now. But of course, everything's got to change on the Cisco side. For sure.
Thank you.
Yep.
Awesome.
Okay.
Wow, that was a lot.
Sorry.
No, but no, don't
Usually
be
2 hours.
sorry. I know. I love this though. Well, and this is good for my team as well, because we're the conduit. Once we get Ivy Tech students and faculty aligned with our faculty and content, they just run, and that's perfect. So thank you for that. I think we'll transition. We do want to spend a couple minutes on what it means to be a Purdue Global student, and just, when do we start school? How many classes do you take at a time? Those kind of things. But before we go into that admissions piece, do we want to ask, does anybody have some questions that they want to pose to our experts here, our content experts?
We also have Allegra Fowler, who is our transfer guru, and
yes.
Just want to let you know.
Better title than her title's a lot more impressive than transfer guru, but
oh, she is a guru for sure.
I want to see the business card that says guru on it. That's what I want to see.
Skip. We'll have to create that for her, because that's what we call her. She's pretty unique. Hi, Allegra. How are you?
Hi, Michelle. Thank you so much for extending the invitation to me to join you all today, to just pop in really quickly and say hello. My name is Allegra, and I'm the Director of Transfer and Articulation over at Purdue Global. And I've been working for the past 12 or 13 years here at our institute, developing transfer credit work. My team, they're the ones who punch all the numbers in terms of making sure that students receive the credits that they deserve. And I partner with Michelle and with Tina and with Chris to establish these pathways for credit, and make sure that when we're looking at an Ivy Tech student's transcript, that we're making sure that we do our absolute best to extract all of the value out and translate it over to the requirements at PG. So I'm just really excited to be a part of this conversation today. So thank you very much for inviting me, and I would be more than happy to field any questions specifically related to transfer credit or articulation and pathways and information like that. And I think, Michelle, I was on the top of her mind because we've recently been working to try to establish some new work related to TSAP, which is Indiana's Associate to Bachelor's pipeline that transfers a junior program. So we've been working a lot on that. So we're really excited to have that as a new opportunity for students interested in transitioning over to Purdue Global. Michelle, do you want me to dive into any detail on that, or just open it for questions?
Yeah, I would, I'm going to lead maybe towards Jessica. Jessica Jagger, what are your thoughts? I mean, TSAP's a whole other great conversation. And we have to be careful with everybody's time. We have 10 minutes left. Is there anything in particular that you would like for Allegra to just kind of high level for this group right here?
Since you guys are working on that TSAP thing, I'm assuming that you're also, we're working on those partnerships, those articulation agreements with Ivy Tech. So as long as we can get some kind of very baseline, high overview marketing material, or maybe we can have another session on it as we get closer to graduation for our students that are getting ready to graduate either at the end of this year or the end of spring 2021. That would be awesome.
Perfect. We will do that. We are working on our website as well to make sure that this is very digital and timely so you can grab it when you need it. But thank you for that very much. Appreciate it. If I could just real quickly, Jessica, I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you have something else to say? Oh, you are, you're good. Yep. As we are coming down on our time, I do want to, in particular for the students on this call, thank you so much. And also for the faculty that are reaching out regarding our programs. I want to actually just share quickly, a great resource for you as well. It's our ivtech.purdueglobal.edu microsite. And this is a great site to come to. You're going to learn, there's some quick videos about what Excel Track really means and how our students thrive with that program. You're going to see some testimonials from our Ivy Tech graduates that have become Purdue Global graduates. This is great too for the students that are on the call today. It's about a 3-minute video that shows you what our classroom looks like. It's a virtual classroom experience. So really helpful when you leave this call thinking, okay, what does the class look like? I've got the great material. What does the classroom look like? You'll also see here, there's a transfer credit evaluation. Yes, we offer TSAP. For the programs that we don't offer TSAP with or don't have, we want to give you a seamless transcript evaluation before you make any decisions on your transfer university, and that can be completed within 48 hours. So if you're interested in just knowing what your options are, I know my team has been putting a Google form in the chat box. Take a look. They're willing to help you out, talk to you today. Also, because of just the mass amount of information, our faculty, Tina and Chris, are more than happy to talk with you one-on-one. They do that. That's their thing. They love talking to students as well. Classes start every single month. So for you Ivy Tech students, if we have any grads out there, our next start date is coming up. You can see here, July 1st is our next one, and you can see the next 4 classes when they begin as well. Our students get to try us out for 3 weeks. It's a Purdue Global commitment. We want to make sure it's a good fit for you before you have to have that cost added. Ivy Tech students, undergraduate, receive a 25% tuition reduction. Really a great savings. This is also, this amount also includes your textbooks too. And that's another conversation we have during that phone call because, cost tends to be the #1 thing a lot of times. We'll definitely outline what that looks like for you. I'm going to stop because that was kind of a lot, but I wanted to at least give you kind of an overview of how we can help you get started. Questions, comments? Trying to stop screen sharing. Oh, here we are. There we go.
No, that's a great, thank you for introducing us to that micro website that really helps tie our 2 institutions together.
It does, and this is where Allegra's team will be also housing the links for TSAP. Jessica, we're always looking for ways to improve and make this a user-friendly site for your students and for your faculty and advisors as well.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, we have about 5 minutes left, so we can take this time to ask any final questions or to set up any additional one-on-one meetings that you were talking about. If anybody has, oh, we do. We have a question. Michael is graduating this summer with a certificate in software development. I'm assuming the technical certificate, which is a 30 credit hour. Can he still transfer Or does he have to finish his associates through Ivy Tech?
We, a rule of thumb is that we encourage the students to finish with Ivy Tech Community College, if at all possible. That way, your cost savings, it's going to save you money. You're already acclimated with your support teams. We encourage that. And that's kind of if you were looking for my advice, that's what I would do. Certainly talk with your advisors as well. We have accepted Ivy Tech students transferring prior to that degree completion, but not often, because we really see the value of this partnership as well. Good question, but definitely talk to your advisors. And if there's a certain or a special circumstance, of course, we'll talk to you. How about Jessica? Does that align with you?
It totally aligns. We never want anybody to waste money, or not waste money, but spend more money than they need to. And
exactly,
we do have that perfect articulation that transferring as a junior, then it makes perfect sense to finish your associates here at Ivy Tech and then automatically become a junior within the Purdue Global University.
That's okay. Where's my whammy button? Wah, wah. Wah, wah, wah. No, you're great. I love it. This is why you're a community college. You're providing all these great outlets. So that was a really great question. We do get asked that. We have Ivy Tech students that call and say, hey, I'm not done with my degree, but we gear them back to their advisors.
Would that student then be able to get the one that didn't finish an associate's, get the 25% discount, or is that kind of another incentive for them to finish? It's only for AAS or AS degree students.
They will still receive a 25% tuition reduction for sure. And then of course we have reverse transfer as well. Is that
yes, thank you.
Good, thank you. Thank you, Al.
I have a question about since the software development, we do not have a TSAP program, and in the cybersecurity, so still the AAS degree student can transfer all the credits?
Allegra, can you take that?
Yeah, so for the most part, many of our programs on the bachelor's degree side are quite transfer friendly. So there are a lot of program options that we have where even if the degree earned at Ivy Tech is an AAS degree, we'll still award transfer. So what I would recommend doing, we have kind of an unofficial pre-enrollment transfer review process that we can do, where you don't have to, you don't have to enroll with us, but we'll just take a look at your transcript and show you what it would all look like. Because it does, when the earned degree is an AAS, it may vary based on what courses were selected as electives and what the registration path was. So we'd rather not be really general about it and just show you what it would look like if you came over. But we still do have a robust library of individual course relationships that I've partnered with Tina and Chris on establishing. And we're really trying to actually increase that list of course matches over time so that we can create more and more better and better matches, so that even if a student hasn't made it quite to the finish line, or if the student pursued an AAS and they didn't know they wanted to continue, we're still going to have something good to put in front of you in terms of transfer credit.
Okay, thank you.
Great question.
I just wanted to thank you for those of you who filled out that Google form. One of the questions on there, and I just thought it would be easier to address it here, was if the degree would be a Purdue University degree. And the answer is your diploma, or will say Purdue University Global. We are fall under the umbrella of Purdue University. However, we are our own standalone institution, accredited through the Higher Learning Commission, and then also some of those additional accreditations that Tina mentioned in the presentation as she was talking about specific programs. So I just wanted to address that question really quick because I thought it was something that was good information for everyone to hear.
Most certainly.
Thank
Do you
you,
guys,
Sarah.
do you have placement information yet on most of these programs? I know some of them are new, so you probably don't have that, but in terms of job placement within 6 months after graduating?
I'm going to pass that to Chris and Tina.
Yeah, it was Career Services has those statistics. The last time I saw it, it was in the 90% range.
Nice.
All of our IT graduates get jobs, not a problem.
Wonderful. Thank
And
you.
usually their salaries are kind of impressive too. So.
Right. Makes us think, why are we doing
They
this?
make more than us, just saying.
All right. It's a labor of love. All right. Well, if there's not any more questions, we should be able to wrap this up so we can go eat lunch or breakfast if you're in California. And if you have any more questions, they did share their email addresses in the Zoom chat, so go ahead and get that down real quick. But if you don't have that information, feel free to reach out to me, students and faculty. I'll be happy to connect y'all together. Okay?
Awesome. Thanks, Jessica.
Right, and then we'll get this
time
as soon as we get everything squared away, and we'll make sure that everybody gets this information for sure.
You're the best.
Yeah.
Thanks, gang.
Thanks,
All right,
guys.
bye.
Everybody, have
Bye.
a good day.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Trying to get out of here.
Yeah, me too.
The long goodbye, the long Indiana goodbye.
Yes, right, not the Irish.
From the port. Oh no, I have perfected that one.
Right,
All right.
especially in Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
All right, bye guys.